Hello there, fellow engineers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts. Episode 28, Setting Up a Reactor Room. So whenever you do a ship rating, it will also give you a readout, and you can find this information in your nav console. It gives you a readout of your total mass of your ship, how many kilograms your ship is, and your acceleration is essentially your thrusters to mass ratio. So this reactor room is probably going to roughly double my mass. So if I want the same amount of thrust power, doubling the thrusters is unreasonable. With that said, typically I'm only using maybe a quarter of my thrusters. I usually do a burn. I do my burns at like 0.75 G, but my ship's capable of doing like 3.5 G burns, which if you do a 3.5 G burn for too long, it could literally knock you unconscious and kill you. So just because you can go faster doesn't mean you should. I think what I'll do is I'll taper it in the back. Shut up. Yeah, reactor rooms need to be big. Having a fusion reactor is not like a small thing. And I am 4 floor tiles short of having it done. 3 HE tanks plus a D20 tank will triple your mass. Or 2 or DTO alone. That isn't a complete question. I'm not really sure what you're asking. What did I... Oh, I'm eating something. Oh, okay. If you want to know the mass of something, just like right-click the thing. It will tell you what's its total weight down here in the details. It wasn't a question, it was a statement? Okay. Well, it had a question mark, so that's why it confused me. Tools are good. Suit battery is good. Oxygen's still good. Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 short of being done. And then it's just a matter of grabbing the walls, making it airtight, and then installing the rest of the fusion stuff. Finding the fusion stuff is maybe the more difficult part, but we'll see. All right, in terms of walls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I think what I'm going to do rather than count is just grab my dolly and start installing. I'll install them in batches of 16 until we're close to being done. So that way, the numbers don't really matter. Orders. Or rather, install. All. Mobile light. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Do you feel the adverse effects when your oxygen levels are low? Basically, as long as the bottle has oxygen in it, you're okay. Until it runs out, and then, you know, hypoxia. Alright, let's get 16 more wall tiles. I'm not going to worry about the conduits just yet. Conduits are easy to strip out. What I want to worry about is making sure I don't jettison my dolly, because it's really easy to just be like, dolly, enter space, bye! and that sucks bad. I hate when I do that. So uninstalling walls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And pick up the dolly while we do this. Of course, my character is jumping around and I can't even fetch the walls in time, some of the time. Yeah, I have definitely jettisoned a whole lot of random stuff to space. They, like, make it really easy without a sort of a warning. It's like... Granted, most of what I've jettisoned to space so far in this series has been corpses, which is a little dark. That I'm like, hey, bodies, goodbye. The good news is I'm not eating them. I guess it could be worse. I could be a space cannibal. Alright, install. And the reason I'm picking a specific wall type is if there's walls anywhere on this other ship, once I'm done with like the walls that I have locally, I will go fetch walls and like run all around and it makes no sense. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'll need just 2 walls after I'm done here. Looking good. And then 34 conduit, something like that. So 16, 32 plus 2, yeah, 34 conduit-ish, plus the conduit needing to run to the reactor, so more like 45 conduit or something like that. In space, no one can hear you chew long pig. My character isn't into the long pig stuff. I long for better food, but that food is not human. Alright, let's leave the dolly here, because conduit can pack into my pockets, no problem. Oh, we're starting to get sunlight, which is going to be nice. So, orders. Uninstall conduit. Not all the conduit is necessarily the conduit I want to use. I don't want, like, jump cable conduit. Not that I would really notice once it's, like, embedded in a wall, but the inner me will know it's there, and it will bother me. I also think I have a fair bit of conduit in the storage on my ship, so I might want to use that conduit up as well, so I don't just have, like, a whole bunch of conduit sitting around for no good reason. Can't even pick this stuff up in time as I'm installing it so quickly. Is there such a thing as fuel efficiency? Yes, but it's about your intakes more than anything else. So the Hydra intakes are more fuel efficient than the Kang intakes. Or at least that's my understanding. So the fuel efficiency isn't really about your thrust to weight ratio. Well, no, that's not true. I actually take that back. Your thrust to weight ratio does matter because if you have a honking heavy vehicle, like, technically speaking, the more thrust potential you have on your ship, the heavier your ship is, right? Because more thrust equals more infrastructure. So the most efficient is to only have the thrust you need to use, right? Like a car that can go... The car that has an engine that only allows it to go highway speeds and no faster because the engine's small, is going to be inherently more fuel efficient than the car that can go, 3 times highway speed limit because it's oversized and has more volume or whatever. You know what I mean? So if you're talking like raw fuel efficiency, it is definitely best to have a ship that has only what it needs and very little overhead, but the need to get fine-tuned it that much is not really there because fuel is pretty cheap and the components aren't very heavy. So it's very forgiving. It's not like Kerbal Space Program where like every kilogram counts. That isn't nearly as important in this game. So you can get away with big honking ships. And honestly, I would say the real efficiency comes down to maintenance, upkeep. If you do have big honking ships, it does cost you a whole lot of constant maintenance. So you don't want a ship much, much, much larger than you need unless you have a lot of crew. So that would be the only time that I would say you really have to worry about efficiency. Because most of the other stuff involved in this game, like efficiency is not a big deal. Cheers. Confirmed. I am aware that muscle cars are inefficient. Yes. All right. At this point, we should be airtight. I am going to unlock this door and start pressurizing the reactor room. So, in terms of reactor installation, the field coils, the field coils basically have to jettison out to space, the center of them. So the center tile of the field coils here doesn't have floor, but that's by design. That's how it works. But everything else should be airtight at this point. Which means if we open this up, yep, it's keeping pressure. Fantastic. I'm gonna, so we don't have all the components that we need, or conduit for that matter, to set up a full reactor. But I'm gonna start installing the reactor. I also know that I need like lights in the reactor room, so maybe before I do the installation, for the benefit of you guys, let's go around this empty ship. And I really haven't even searched this empty ship. I've only like seen the orange tiles and a few of the bins and gone, ooh, dibs. But like I haven't actually poked through this thing yet. Not fully. I was hoping to find batteries that I could install. What it? This ship looks pretty tore up. Old core liners. I like kind of don't even care. Broken intakes. Can pirates get you while you're on a derelict? Generally not, because there's no docking spot. It oddly, because pirates will have to dock just like you, there is no like traveling to another ship via EVA. So you're pretty safe when you're hanging out docked. Wouldn't that be different? Someone shows up with like a gun floating in from space. Oh, once again, that kind of reminds me a little bit of a Firefly. So we picked up that dude's, or dudette, I didn't even check, PDA. The dead ones. But this ship looks, so it has a reactor core and a laser array. Actually, laser array was one of the only other things we needed. in the as far as the checklist goes. Trying to memorize this checklist. I think the only other thing we don't yet have is the D2O tank. If I'm not mistaken, it's the only other part I'm lacking. I'll know more once I actually have everything, you know, constructed. But there's no field coils under here, but I already have the field coils, so that's not a big deal. So if you take a look at the reactor core, you'll see a hole in the hull, and that hole is where the field coils go out. Basically, it dumps your, like, spent... Oh, I don't have scrap steel. It dumps your, like, spent fuel out. Your exhaust, if you will. Orders. Hull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And auto task. And an MHD. Actually, strictly speaking, MHDs aren't necessary. MHDs, what they do for fusion reactors, and I would obviously want one in my case, is they allow you to siphon power from the reaction to feed back to your ship battery. So, I think you can actually get away with, yo, this is not auto hull, my friend. I think you can actually get away with not having an MHD as a result. Alright, what is my... This is not what hulling should... This is not auto hull tasks. There you go. The capacitor will drain really fast. I'm saying it's not strictly necessary, but it is one of those fairly essentials. Like, I would never run a reactor without one. But yeah, you're right. I don't think I have an MHD. Either. Or a D2O, so... That's what's left to find. I think we're done with this ship. Let me just double check that there was nothing past the reactor room that, no, because that's the upper bound of the wall. Okay. And sorry to not be... Well, let's look in your toolbox. It's empty. Sorry to not be solving your murder there. God, you were young. Galilean Confederation illegal. Feels bad. But, get stripped. Okay. At this point, there's only a few more fusion parts we need. But I think it stands to reason to actually set up a fusion room now. So let's go ahead and install the reactor core. And then the components of the reactor... Oh, who the hell is navving me? Probably NAS Patrol. Yep. So the core is set up with 4 of those individual components essentially locked together around the field coils. There we go. And then let's do a core pump. So opening up this, I don't have the MHD, but we'll do core pump. Oh, you know, I didn't grab any lights. I'm going to see if I can't rubbage up some lights so that we can illuminate the reactor room a little bit better. Plus, I don't have conduit for it yet either, but I don't really need to plug it in. I don't recall seeing any batteries here, though. So it's kind of hard to find lights without a battery to power them on. I could uninstall a battery from my own ship and, like, install one here. But I think it might make more sense to just go to my next salvage zone. I'm just going to do that. And then I'll install more of the reactor in transit. Now, this ship here was being picked over by another scav, but yeah, that's fine. I don't really care. So bye-bye, Endless Crooner. You were very, very kind to me. Thank you for all your hull parts. I appreciate it. And sorry, Miss 19-year-old, I didn't solve your murder. But, that ain't my day job. That's NASA's job. And they don't really do their jobs. Oh, sorry, overlay, yeah. Alright, I'm only going to come into this next one at 50 meters per second because I'm going to be a lot further from... If I'm installing the Reactor core stuff, I'm going to be a lot physically further from the nav console. So I want to be moving slower as a result. So this is laser array. Hello. There we go. Aggressive wiggles. Pellet feeder. There's the capacitor. Oh, I don't have this repaired because I'm missing scrap steel. Well, I have a different capacitor, so I'll install that one then. Ooh. That's going to be a pathing blocker. I'll think on that. Let's grab the fuel regulator and the pellet feeder. I might need to make this a little bit larger as a result of the... I could actually install them like this. Maybe I'll do that. Sort of a compressed version. So basically there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ports for the fusion reactor. And the fusion parts just have to install into one of those side ports. So I could set it up... If I moved the laser array, I could set it up the same way, where it like plugs in at a weird angle. So that I don't need to expand my fusion room. I think I'll do that. And then I'll put the pellet feeder there. And that allows me to not change the footprint of the room, but still install the necessary components. Oh, I don't want to be... No. Stop. Be on the other side. Didn't want to be locked in there. So we got the fuel systems, the laser systems. I don't have the cryo system yet. Don't have a cryo pump. And then, am I missing anything? No. Well, I don't have the HE tank installed, but I don't need to do that right now. What I can do is I can pick it up and, like, physically move it down there. I was thinking putting the tank... Well, I don't really have a good spot for the tank, actually. Come to think of it. I'm going to need to figure out where these tanks will go eventually. What I'll do for now is just, like, drop it in the corner. Cryo's optional if you're brave enough. Oh, God. Yeah. So, taking a look at the checklist again. Here it is. 2 field coils is done. 4 core systems done. No AMHD. Pellet feeder is done. Fuel regulator done. Laser capacitor and laser done. Cryo pump done. Cryo tank no. D2O no. HE tank yes, but not installed. So I need the cryo tank, the heavy water tank, and the hydroelectric or MHD, the generator. So those are the missing components. All right, time to auto task repair. Or not. I think we're here. How many wall colors will the room need? Maybe 2. It depends on, like, how cool you want it. But, like, 2 is a pretty safe bet. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to have it have its own nitrogen and oxygen pumps either. Each compartment having their own pumps is nice so that you don't have one tank responsible for the entire atmospherics of your entire ship. That way, ooh, shoot, if you depressurize or something like that, you can easily repressurize much more quickly and without depleting tanks and having to swap tanks. So that's another thing that I'll probably end up doing in the long run, is setting up atmospherics separately for each major section. So smaller rooms, probably not. Like a toilet, a bathroom isn't going to have its own section, its own like atmospherics, but like a reactor room and a cargo room, like those things will have their own. Oh, this thing is tiny. This is like an airlock. It's a do medium. Why am I walking? Oh, it must have component parts to repair the capacitor. Yep, I got scrap steel. Well, this is just a spare capacitor that I was going to sell. But obviously I'm not going to find any fusion parts here, because this ship that I'm docked with has virtually nothing. I'll poke through it anyway. It's got... pretty much nothing. It had scrap steel. I guess. And barely any of it to boot. I think I grabbed the only scrap steel that was here. Bunch of cigarettes. And splints. Food. Yeah, okay, we're done. That was it. Boring ship. This was the one that the other scavenger was picking over. If you're wondering, the NPCs, like... what? Excuse me, no clearance. The other NPCs don't actually do work. Like, if they board a ship, they're not taking things off the ship. It's just simulated. Oh, hypoxic. Okay, helmet back on. I guess it's too thin. Is that because... Oh, I know why. Yeah, I just need to open this door. There we go. That will fix. So it's a pretty long burn to the next zone. I'll burn a little harder. Let's go 250, and I'll try to keep track of the time to know when to slow down. So if I'm there in 40 minutes and it's 1 minute past the hour, at let's say 35 minutes past the hour, so at 7:35, I will, I'll, you know, slow down. Okay, the ship is now breathable. Cool. Breathable and warm. And we'll just, traveling there, we'll just restore more of the floor and wall sections for this new edition. Because it's pretty jank back here. Eventually I'll be putting, I'll be putting thrusters and the like back here as well. I'm just, to gain access to the walls, it's best if I wait. Yeah, if you want scrap steel, you could just scrap ship walls and the like. It's not a hard material to come by. Generally speaking, I don't find it's worth my time because you can easily just find it and not waste your time scrapping walls. But either way works. Ooh, laser ray. There we go. Can I access the tiles in the center? We'll see, won't we? I got about 4 more minutes before I should start thinking about slowing down. We're almost at 35. So let's start throwing on the brakes. Haha! Look! It's the ship that messed with us. It's now like floating out into nowhere land. Yep, totally wasn't my fault. I didn't do that at all. I made a derelict. It's even registering as a derelict. Maybe you shouldn't have slammed into me. To be honest, I'm not even sure if I had the right of way, legally speaking. But, you know, I took offense all the same. Come on, dude. Auto task. Link. And then once we get a proximity alarm, we'll dock. So, chat, do you think we are going to end up finding the crowd tank, the D2O tank, or the MHD? What you think? I retired a bad pilot, that's all. That's one way of looking at it. There's a poster in the game that explains you basically literally never have the right of way. Yeah. I believe it. Well, it's looking much nicer back here. Getting all fixed up and stuff. Wow, that wall system is so broken. Yeah, shut it. I already decelerated, I'm not gonna hit. OTES! You'll think I'll find a crowd tank? Actually, I think in this whole series, I've not yet seen a crowd tank. I've seen everything else reactor-wise. I don't think I've seen a single crowd tank. It's also possible the crowd tank pops up in a scrap dealer. That's unlikely, but certainly not impossible. So if I'm really desperate, I could also just buy one. And with the amount of money... Oh, this thing is tiny. What the hell? It's not even a medium, it's a small. Oh my god, you are an airlock. Ugh. Have I seen tone braces in the wild? Yes. Well, you're tiny, but you have a spear. And a transponder. Okay. Well, I broke the transponder. No surprise there. They do have coolers. A cooler. They have a data card, which may have some information on it. So, yeah, let's grab the spear. That's fun. Looks almost more like a harpoon. And we'll check the data card. Files. I don't know why I wasn't reading files in the local area. Alright, here's the data card. Beware the Hand, Testament, and something I can't read. So there's something on the data card. I don't know if it's worth anything. I'll check the totes. Nope. No, nothing. And I'm not going to bother going out to the bin outside. Alright, we're done here. Oh, I do have 2 PDAs. I was wondering about that. I was like, why does it say that I have 2 PDAs? Because I do. Well, Otez, you were the smallest I've seen so far. I think. I've seen some other tiny survival pods, but that might be the smallest. Oh, come on, I clicked. Why aren't you tracking? Okay. I think I'll come in at a 1:30, and we'll be there at like 25 past the hour. One thing that will change dramatically is the evaluation of our ship once we have like a fully functioning reactor room will go up a lot, especially having a dedicated reactor room as well. Now I may need to make some hull and wall adjustments for the tanks themselves, because I don't really have a good spot for a helium cryo and heavy water tank. But at least getting the infrastructure here is an accomplishment. And I think most of the broken things back here are all fixed up. Except for the corner pieces. Where am I? Oh, okay. Let's get the... How soon are we going to arrive? 18 minutes. I'm going to slow down a little bit. And then repair some of the external corners that were busted. That I can't reach from the inside. Is that it? I guess that's it. Apart from this one fusion reactor core that, like, my character refuses to repair for some reason, I think everything else on the boat is basically 100%. Will be a juicy pirate target for pirates? Well, that's part of the game mechanics. The juicier you become, the more likely you are to get attacked by design. So, a wealthy boat is a rich target for pirates. And bring it, is my my reaction to that. Bring them on. I've got guns and a katana and a crowbar and a baseball bat. Okay, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are basically all done with whatever maintenance we need to do, so... Speeding up towards our target, and we'll be there in just a minute. Now this neck of the woods, I guess there's 2 more ships that I've not yet searched that are like kind of closer to K-Leg. But we've my larger point is we've really picked through the boneyard quite a bit. So hopefully we end up finding what we need. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow spacefarers.